Hey guys, welcome to Any Codes Productions and welcome to my latest video here. Now, as you guys know, in my last video around, I went ahead and did my first review of the Lenovo Ideapad Z510. And in my first video around, I went ahead and covered basically the design and the build quality of the Z510. And here in my second video of the series, what I'm planning to do is cover the display of the Z510. So before I go ahead and get into the review, I want to go ahead and say that I will be continuing this series, and with each video, I'll be covering a different aspect of this laptop, and I will probably be uploading a video probably every day. So this will allow me to comprehensively cover each specific part of the laptop, and it'll basically allow the users or the viewers to basically find the information what they want very quickly. Now that I've said that, let's go ahead and get into the review itself. So opening up the laptop, you can see that this laptop is a full 15.6-inch full-size notebook, and it is pretty large, as you can see, especially with the side bezels like I mentioned in the last video. So diagonally, this screen measures 15.6 inches, so you have quite a bit of screen real estate. There are some things that I like about it, and for the majority of it, I find this display to be pretty good. But there are a few cons that I don't like, which I'll get into a bit later. So first, let's go ahead and get into the good parts of this, good things about this screen. So the screen is firstly a matte screen. Now, I'm not sure how well this translates on video, but this is a fully matte screen, and probably it comes with a couple of options, either to go with the glossy one or the matte one. But since I purchased it from a retail outlet, the only version which they had was a matte one. Now, there are a few advantages of going with a matte screen over a glossy screen. Firstly, it prevents all reflections of your screen, so you won't be distracted by reflections, and your screen basically won't act like a mirror, allowing you to see your face when you have especially dark images on it. And this is another problem, especially while watching movies as well. So having a matte screen removes all of those. Furthermore, having a matte screen allows you to use your screen in really bright conditions where otherwise it would be difficult to use, such as if you're using it in some bright sunlight. It would be much easier to use this screen in comparison to equivalent glossy screen. Having said that, I also want to say that having a matte screen is something that usually came with the more professional notebooks, such as the ThinkPad series. Up until this moment, I think only laptops that came with the matte screen from Lenovo's side were their ThinkPads and their, I think, high-end gaming laptops. And since this laptop has this matte screen, I think it's a good feature that they have included in it. So, having said that, let's go ahead and move into how the display performs in terms of content and colors and resolution. So let me go ahead and just open up my laptop. So here you can see I've gone ahead and opened up a web page on this, and let me go ahead and set the zoom level to 100 so you get a good idea of how the content looks on this by default. So now I've set the zoom level to 100%. So as you can see, the large screen allows you, it gives you a good amount of space on the screen, and you can easily view websites pretty easily. As you can see, with some room to spare, you can easily browse CNN, and you still have room to spare on the sides. So it's a pretty large screen, and you'll probably get most things covered in it. It's For video editing, I found it to be adequate. I would have preferred a larger screen, but in terms of since this is a laptop, I thought this was pretty adequate, especially better than the 14-inch laptop that I had earlier, which tended to have a much smaller screen, and I could really feel the difference when I jumped up to the 15.6-inch notebook. Moving on, the colors on the screen are, in my opinion, on the moderate side. They aren't oversaturated, and neither are they too dull. And to be honest, they are pretty contrasting, and you can go ahead and adjust your contrast levels and your brightness and your saturation via an app that Lenovo bundles with this. And let me go ahead and see if I can find it. And it's not a Lenovo based app, it's an app from Intel, which is Intel graphic properties. And by launching this app and using this app, you can go ahead and adjust settings which basically allow you to adjust some color levels on it. So here you go. As you can see, if you go into the display option here from the control panel, and here you have your option to control your brightness, your contrast, your gamma, and basically you can basically adjust these settings to your needs, and it tends to make a good amount of difference to how the content appears on the screen. And to be honest, in terms of colors, I found it to be pretty good. Moving on, about the resolution, I think the 1366 into 768 resolution found on this laptop is on the lower side, especially in today's day. Um, and I would have preferred that, since this is a full 15.6-inch notebook, and at least a 1600 into 900 pixel display, even if it wasn't a full 1920 by 1080. And one reason why I think they did that was to cut costs, obviously, and furthermore, if you plan to game on this, I think the GT 740M that comes bundled with this would not be able to handle a higher resolution, or it will probably start at higher resolutions if they had included a higher resolution display. So I think they matched the screen to the level of graphical performance the GT 740M could output, and that's a factor that's to be considered while gaming and watching HD content as well. Since this doesn't support a full HD display, you might not get the full HD a full HD experience. So if you're a person who likes to game a lot, especially on full HD, or a person who likes to watch full HD movies a lot, I would say this display does is a bit lacking. And also, since we have 4K, since we've seen a growth in the 4K department as well, I would say this 720p HD screen is definitely starting to show its age. And to be honest, if you're an average user and you don't really care about the resolution too much, I would say this would more than adequately get the job done, as things usually appear adequately sized, and the things aren't on the screen aren't extremely small, which is thing that you see often with really high resolution displays. So I would say in general, if the average consumer would probably be happy with this display. Furthermore, talking about the brightness, I would say, even though this is a matte display, and matte displays usually tend to have lower brightness than equivalent glossy displays, this screen tended to be quite bright. So let me go ahead and put this straight up, and let me go ahead and turn the brightness all the way down, and then turn it all the way up. So now I'll go ahead and fully turn the brightness down. So as you can see, that's the brightness fully down, and I'm not sure if that's legible, but that's all the way, and this is the minimum level of brightness you can achieve with this display. Now if I go ahead and turn the brightness fully up, there you can see it goes really bright, and I'm not sure how well this translates on camera, but as of now it's pretty bright. Now I'll also go ahead and open up another web page to show you how the screen looks, just so that you have a point of comparison. The Verge site, so as you can see here, uh, it's filled with quite a bit of colors, and therefore this should give you a good representation of the resolution, the colors, and how everything looks on the display. So if I was to conclude this the review of the display, in my opinion, I would give the display an 8 out of 10. And I think the main downfall, or the main con of this display, not exactly downfall, but the con of the display is its low resolution. And if they had gone with a high resolution display screen, I would say that this screen would be a really great screen. And talking about the pros, like summing them up, I think the first thing is it comes with a matte screen, which is really good to prevent glare and to prevent reflections, and to make it usable in bright conditions. It also has good color representation, so that's another plus. And I think I didn't mention the viewing angles. The viewing angles are good. Let me go ahead and turn this around. There you can see. Uh, so having removed the studio light, I can show you that here are the viewing angles. You can have a good representation of the viewing angles now. And you can see I've turned it almost completely sideways, and the viewing angles are good from the sides. The colors don't get washed out even when you're viewing them from really steep angles, and this is true when you're viewing them from the sides. But if you go ahead and try to view it from the top, the viewing angles tend to fall uh, quite soon. So let me go ahead and show you that. So I'll go ahead and close it up, and there you can see things start to get slightly washed out. And if you go further, they will get washed out further. And the same goes if you go ahead and tilt it up. Um, you can see things start to get washed out pretty soon. And this, the washed out colors tend to be more prominent when you go ahead and turn this display down than when you turn it up. So in terms of viewing angles, I would say they are good when you're viewing it from the sides, and even if you turn the screen up, the viewing angles still tend to hold up. But if you turn it a bit down, and the further you go down than the optimal viewing angle, the worse it gets, and it gets worse pretty soon. So as for the viewing angles, I would give it a good, not excellent, because it tends to drop off pretty soon when you're tilting it up and down. So I think I've covered almost everything about the display on the Z510 now. It is a good display, to be honest, and for a laptop at this price point, there is not much we can complain about. The viewing angles are good, don't get me wrong there, but they could have been better, and um, I'm pretty happy with the viewing angles and in general the display. The resolution is the only point where I thought the screen could have been better, to be honest. And other than that, I don't really have any problems with it. And hopefully, this video gave you a good representation of how the display is on the Z510. And with this, I can say that's pretty much it that I have to say about the display. So I hope you guys liked it. And this concludes my review of the display on the Z510. So in my next video, what I'll be doing is I'll be going ahead and reviewing a different part of the laptop, most probably the input devices such as the trackpad and the keyboard. And yeah, so if you're interested in this laptop, you can definitely go ahead and stay tuned to my channel. I'll be going ahead and uploading that most probably the day after. So stay tuned. And other than that, thanks guys for watching. I hope you guys liked it. This is ending call. Peace out.